Great, thanks, Michelle. My name is Adrian Bordone. I'm with GuideStar, and it's really a pleasure to be with folks on today's webinar. We have a topic that is increasingly relevant for nonprofit organizations today. We'll cover some basics about how to ensure that your organization is best represented in the community of giving, so that as you build the strength of your brand and the value and all the great work that you're doing, you are able to attract the attention that you need to build sustainable financial results and ultimately the kind of engagement you need with the community that you serve and the stakeholders you're seeking to have support your organization. So I'm going to provide a little overview today for those on the call who are not familiar with GuideStar, and then we'll jump into some very practical takeaways that hopefully will benefit you and your organization. So I'm really excited to participate in this event with Michelle's support. And our first sort of slide is really focused on recognize or share with you that there's an opportunity for you to do something literally right now. If you are with a nonprofit organization, then your nonprofit organization has filed a 990 at any point in the past, you have a profile on GuideStar.org. Some of you, as I noticed from your registration information, have never claimed your profile. I'm going to share with you in a moment what all these words mean, but if you are not familiar with your GuideStar profile, if you have not looked at your GuideStar profile, if you are not the administrator of your GuideStar profile, now's a chance for you to email this email address that you see here, outreach@guidestar.org. In the body of your email, please include your first and last name, your organization's EIN, and your zip code. If you're using an email address that links to your nonprofit organization, for instance, if your nonprofit organization is called, I'm just looking over, the Moyer Foundation, and your email address is name@Moyer Foundation, then you're in great shape. However, if your email address is, perhaps you're with the Forever Young Foundation, and you have a Hotmail or a Gmail or an AOL email address, it's really important that you be very clear in the body of your email that you self-identify as an individual who's associated with that nonprofit organization. Again, so before we even get into today's webinar, it's really important that if you are not familiar with your GuideStar profile, the first thing you should do is drop a email to this email address with the information you see here, identify yourself, and someone from our organization will register you and allow you to claim your profile, and that's what we're really going to spend the lion's share of today's webinar talking about. So for those who are not familiar, GuideStar is a data aggregator and disseminator. So we have in our database information on more than 2.5 million nonprofit organizations. Most of the data in our database is available to us through our relationship with the IRS and our relationship with nonprofit organizations. This is really a very important distinction. Every nonprofit has a profile or a place on GuideStar.org. You can go in later today and search GuideStar.org and find your profile. Organizations who have never put their hand up and claimed their profile will have a profile that's populated with their most recent 990 information. So GuideStar auto-populates profile information on every organization that's filed a 990 with basic 990 information. However, we know that is really insufficient to articulate your value proposition. Essentially, the same way no one would think they know me by looking at my personal tax returns. That's a an insufficient way to understand me as a person, your 990 is an insufficient way for a prospective donor or stakeholder to understand your organization. So increasingly, the data in GuideStar is not only available or based on the IRS 990 data, but it's supplemented and strengthened by the nonprofits themselves, as you see here on the left. Where does that data go? Ultimately, the data exists in our GuideStar database, but then it's available and used by a variety of audiences. So our primary audience is our nonprofit organizations and our donors and stakeholders. These are some of the 8 million people who log in and out of GuideStar.org every year to learn more about the sector and the organizations and causes they care about. So there are 8 million folks who are logging in and out of GuideStar.org. These are foundation representatives, donors, stakeholders, and nonprofits themselves. Increasingly, you should be aware that there are another 20 to 30 million people who are gaining access to nonprofit data through our data distribution network, which you see in the middle column here in that box. These are folks who are taking advantage of what's called an API relationship, or an application programming interface. This is a way in which commercial entities, you'll see some represented in a moment, can use GuideStar's data to power search for their clients and users. So collectively, GuideStar is collecting data from nonprofit organizations themselves, many of you on today's call, as well as the IRS. We're cataloging it and then making it available to searchers and users of GuideStar.org, which you see in the right-hand column, and to our data distribution network, which you see represented centrally. Who is our data distribution network? It's a pretty large contingent, as I mentioned a moment ago. Here are some of the partners who use GuideStar data to strengthen their user experience. American Express, T. Rowe Price, Wells Fargo, CrowdRise, perhaps one of our stronger partners, Amazon Smile, also Google, a number of the donor-advised funds and community foundations. You should recognize that increasingly, individuals who want to learn about the community of practice and learn about nonprofit organizations are finding you and your organization through our digital network of data exchange. This is an important source of prospective donors and stakeholders for organizations who are increasingly reaching beyond friends and family for their philanthropic and financial sustainability. So if you're an organization and you're reaching out to the world to try and attract new donors and stakeholders, you want to be aware of and capitalize on this network of partners that's accessible to you at no cost through GuideStar. We're really proud that last November we established a partnership with Facebook. This partnership was formalized and really got started at the end of the first quarter of this year. But anyone on today's call who uses Facebook as part of their fundraising or engagement strategy for new or current donors or stakeholders will want to understand how their GuideStar profile can strengthen their ability to represent themselves and their value and their results to an ever increasingly large marketplace of individuals who want to learn more about your organization. You see down here on the lower right-hand side a link to learn more. This will be, again, this slide deck and this entire recording will be available to you after today's webinar. But one of the obvious takeaways as you're going through, you'll see a number of items highlighted in red font. Certainly you might want to write that down. If you're engaged today in a Facebook donations campaign, you want to understand how GuideStar can strengthen your interaction with your stakeholders. You notice here that moving forward, certainly as we sprint toward the end of 2017 and any Giving Tuesday strategies that you have, also obviously if you have more incremental donor engagement strategies for which you're using Facebook, you will see that your profile will now show on your fundraiser page. And again, this is your GuideStar profile. That profile is freely available to you to update to make sure it includes the most valuable and pertinent information that donors might be looking for. Typically, that information is above and beyond the 990 information. That's the information you can add to make sure that you're best represented to your audience. You will want to keep an eye out. There's going to be a large, so most of the organizations that we work with start their planning for their Giving Tuesday events in the mid to late summer, early fall. If this is part of your fundraising strategy for 2017, you're going to want to sign up and make sure you see the webinar updates for the webinar that we're going to do with Facebook in July. Again, this is probably 2 months away, but this is just an alert to keep an eye out for that. This will be an invaluable set of resources and tools for you to strengthen your campaign toward the end of this year. So let's talk a little bit about what your GuideStar profile is. Again, if you're not familiar with your GuideStar profile, you have a page on GuideStar.org that looks a little like this. It will show your organization's name. It will show to the right, on the right-hand side, the seal level, the profile seal that you have attained. If you have never been to your profile, then there will be no seal on the right-hand side. You see this says GuideStar Gold. That's because the Audubon Society has claimed their profile and gone through the steps to get to gold. And I'm going to highlight what those steps look like today. But you also have what your donors and stakeholders are seeing is summary information, programs and results, financial information, etc. This is where donors and stakeholders are going to get critical answers to what your organization does. Increasingly, we're seeing that donors are going to GuideStar as a place for a first impression of an organization. They're using GuideStar more often than the organization's website because every website is different, and GuideStar offers a common portfolio, structure for donors and stakeholders to understand and find the information they're seeking. We know that just like many of you spend a tremendous amount of time developing a high-quality annual report for your donors and stakeholders, we are strongly recommending that you set aside an hour or two a year to make sure that your profile looks as clean and has as updated information as possible so that you can attract and retain the attention of prospective donors. So let's take a look at what an organization, what an individual can learn from a profile that is really among the strongest in the sector today. And this is an example. I think we have a Habitat for Humanity on today's call. So kudos to many of you in your affiliate and network group. I'm highlighting the Habitat for Humanity of Omaha here for no other reason than because they are a platinum seal holder. So how is a profile used by donors and stakeholders today? It's used in the following ways. A user can come in. The first thing, if the organization has submitted results, and results are a really compelling way to demonstrate to a prospective donor that you're serious about making a difference in the lives of the community and individuals you serve, then typically the results data is some of the highest viewed data in a profile. So an individual may come in, look at your results. They may then want to read about how you achieve your results. This is data that you can add to your profile in our gold level, what's called charting impact. I'll highlight this in a moment. They then can look at your financial information to confirm that you're an organization that is sustainable and viable over the long term. Please know that Most organizations who complete their profiles and claim and update their profiles are organizations with budgets in excess of $250,000. That does not preclude anyone on today's call. If you are an organization with a smaller budget, please, this profile update opportunity is certainly freely available to you as well. But if you're an organization with a budget of $250,000 or $500,000 or over $1 million, you should know increasingly the organizations with whom you're competing in an ever increasingly challenging fundraising environment have their profiles updated and have provided the information their donors and stakeholders are looking for. So beyond results and the articulation of value, that narrative which you saw a moment ago, the key strategies for making this happen, and the financials, many donors and stakeholders are looking to understand the stewardship of the organization. This is board information and leadership information, also voluntarily added by the organization who's claimed its profile. Again, you're giving a seeker, someone who finds your organization through GuideStar.org, the most robust picture of who you are as an organization and how you contribute to results in your community. Additionally, if you have it available, we also have a link with great nonprofits so that you can capture and reveal constituent feedback in your profile. This is just one example of a way in which an organization, Habitat for Humanity of Omaha, has really strengthened voluntarily its profile by providing a significant amount of information and intelligence that it knows its donors and stakeholders are looking for. So, as a reminder, every organization on today's call has access to the free profile on GuideStar.org. If you have never visited that profile, I would encourage you to visit it today. You can claim that profile in the upper right-hand corner of our website. I'll show you that in a moment. You can also claim it today by sending an email to outreach@guidestar.org, as I highlighted on our first slide. Each profile, every organization has the opportunity to raise its profile level from unclaimed to claimed to bronze to silver to gold to platinum, as you see here today. And we're going to go through each of these 4 transparency levels. Most organizations, as I mentioned a moment ago, spend about 2 hours getting their organization's profile up to snuff, making sure they have all their information up to date, and then they spend anywhere from an hour to 2 hours a year updating that profile to ensure that it contains the most current information on their organization. So let's talk about what this looks like. So I've sort of highlighted the value proposition. Why is it important for you to know about your GuideStar profile? Here's what it means to actually update your profile. So when you go to, if you were to go, or you or some colleague in your organization were to go to your to GuideStar.org, you would see links that you see highlighted here. First, we would ask or recommend you'll need to create an account, which is free. This allows you to claim and update your nonprofit profile. Again, please understand, if you have already today or in the past emailed us to claim that profile, then this step is already taken care of. However, we do know quite a few folks on today's webinar are unclaimed, meaning that they have not yet claimed their profile in order to go through the following steps. Again, free and easy. This is accessible through the outreach@guidestar.org email address, or on the GuideStar.org web page, which I've taken a screenshot of here. And here you see these easy steps. And let's talk about what the different voluntary levels are that you can go through to ensure that your organization is best represented for the donors and stakeholders that are looking to learn about you. So at the most basic level, you see what I've highlighted on the following slides are the red sections represent sort of required information. And you'll notice that the profile update program allows you to just get through it without having to complete every field. Certainly, if you are in your profile, we encourage you to complete as much information as possible, but you notice here that at the very basic level, all we're really asking you to do is confirm your organization's name, your EIN, and your address. We often refer to this as let's make sure that donors who are looking for you can find you. This is especially important for organizations whose name is not whose formal name is not the same as the way they're often referenced in their sort of doing business as, or DBA, as you see in the additional names category. This is not uncommon in the community of practice. We have a number of veterans organizations who use acronyms to ensure that they have that their organization is easily remembered by donors and stakeholders. But in many cases, the organization might be the American Association for Veterans of Foreign Wars. That may be the formal name of the organization, but they may call themselves AMVETS. I'm making that up, of course, but if your organization has a way in which you do business, a name of your organization, and it's not the same as your formal name, you're going to want to make sure that you include those additional names there. So nevertheless, just a reminder, and hopefully you perceive this already, very easy to get yourself started claiming your profile and getting through this most basic step. If you're in your profile, we recommend that you update whatever information you see in black here, just to simplify it and ensure that it's as accurate as possible, but that is not required information. One thing you're going to hear me reiterate again at the conclusion of today's presentation that you see in the lower right-hand corner. If you have a claimed profile and if you have not turned on your Donate Now button, that's really something that you should absolutely do. Never miss an opportunity to capture a level of interest from an individual and turn their interest into a possible donation. This is something that you can do at the click of a button on your GuideStar profile when you're in your profile update. Additionally, please make sure that you check the opt-in feature. The opt-in feature is what allows your data to be visible on Amazon Smile, on Facebook, on our data distribution network. All those donors who are looking for you, you want them to find you not just through GuideStar.org, but also through the data distribution network. And perhaps most importantly, you want to make sure that you're publishing your results. Once you move through your profile update, you will see the opportunity to save and continue, save and continue. You don't have to publish the updates that you make to your profile. I will tell you that one of our biggest sticking points or hurdles with organizations is they go in, they update their profile, they save it, but they don't publish it. So a week later or a month later or a quarter later, they reach out to us and say, hey, all that information that I updated isn't visible to my stakeholders, my donors, my board who are using GuideStar.org every day. And we say, great, well, the reason is probably because while you updated your profile, you may not have published your results. So just remember, when you're in the process, don't forget to turn on your Donate Now button. Make sure to opt in so that your information shows across our vast array of data distribution network partners. Significant increase in visibility there, almost 4 times the number who use GuideStar.org, and make sure to publish your information and publish your results. Okay, so that's the basic level. Nothing could be easier than you just claiming your profile, confirming that you are who you say you are, and where necessary, taking advantage of the additional names box to add any DBA, doing business at, or also known as. You may also want to move toward Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Platinum, which will consume the remainder of our web event today. Bronze includes some basic contact information. Obviously, if a donor or stakeholder wants to learn about your organization, you don't want to force them to wonder, who at this organization can I contact to learn more about it? You want to open those communication channels with your prospective donors and stakeholders. Add primary contact information, name, email address listed here. Obviously, those are our required fields. You see them continuing on to the right, but wherever possible, what we recommend while you're in the update program, add as much information as you can, recognizing that you want to just ensure that you absolutely fulfill the required obligations to allow you to get that bronze seal and then where possible or where time permits, update other information accordingly. You see here staff information, leadership information, board information, really increasingly board stewardship and fiduciary responsibilities increasingly viewed as as a characteristic of a mature organization that is doing great work in the communities they serve. Mission statement and geographic area served, program name you see on the right-hand side in red here. Keywords also important. This is where you add words that relate to your cause area, although they may not be in the name of your organization. So you know, obviously you want to make sure that when if someone searches for after-school program, they find your organization, even though your organization might be called Caring for Kids. Caring for Kids will show up on a search result for after-school program if the words after-school program are included under categorization. This is a way to ensure that people who are looking for organizations like yours are finding. So bronze, again, is the information that helps an individual understand more about your organization. Silver is really about financial information, and this is really critical. Research tells us that there are two data sets that most increasingly sophisticated donors and stakeholders are looking for to substantiate their interest in a caring organization. The first data set is financial data. The second data set increasingly is evidence of impact, or data that correlates with the results you're having in your field of practice. So the silver level is if you have audited financial statements, this is a no-brainer. It's a quick and easy upload. However, if you're not currently getting audited financials, you can add the information you see here in red and essentially digitally sign to attest to the accuracy of that information. So don't let the fact that you may not have audited financials stop you from getting to this critical silver level of profile transparency. I will tell you that bronze, silver, gold, and platinum profiles get a boost in our search results, and silver are our most predominant level of organization. So you really want to make sure, again, if you are competing with other organizations like yours for donor dollars and foundation attention, you want to make sure that you get at least a silver. This is where you establish your financial viability and sustainability. Gold is the next level. I'll be honest, this is the area that often is a stumbling block for most of our organizations. They get to silver, they breathe a sigh of relief, they feel good about themselves, which is great. Generally, most organizations can get to silver in less than an hour. An organization that has never tried to answer the following questions for themselves may struggle a little bit here at Gold. But this is really the narrative place where individuals can read and learn more about how your organization goes about achieving its goals, what your strategies are, your capabilities, your indicators for success, and what progress you're making. This is really where an individual starts answering the question for themselves, so what? Why is this organization in existence? It's not in existence for its address or contact or board information. It's not in existence for its financial information. It is in existence because it has a mission-driven goal, and this is where that information becomes more and more robust and available for view for donors and stakeholders. So you see here that most of what we typically recommend is 3 to 5 sentences for each of these categories. And certainly, if you want to go into GuideStar.org and search for gold organizations, you can see what they're including. If you've never tried to answer these questions for yourself, you can use some of the great inputs by some of your peer organizations to understand more about how to move through this level. The last level that we're going to talk about today is called Platinum, and Platinum is our results level. Platinum became available to nonprofit organizations last May, so we're officially in our 1-year anniversary. Platinum turned 1. We're a bouncing baby here at GuideStar. We've got just over 2,300 organizations who've submitted results. You can imagine that these are the organizations that are most competitive and most compelling in their understanding about how to engage an increasingly sophisticated donor and stakeholder group. So we welcome you to use our results framework. This is a catalog. You see what you see here is if I were in a live environment, you would be able to download this PDF. There are 800 metrics in that PDF. We have about 8,500 metrics that have been entered by 2,300 organizations. So 3 to 4 metrics per organization. Most organizations are uploading 2 to 3 years worth of data. So they sort of are tracking longitudinal data. You saw me highlight this in our Habitat for Humanity of Omaha profile view. But this is really a place where you can find something that is resonant for your organization or reflective of your results, or you can add your own. Let's talk about what that looks like. So this is a static slide, but in the live environment, you would be able to type a word in that reflects the type of work that you do. You could type in environment or animals, or in this case, employment. We use something called an elastic search that searches the results catalog, again, 800 possible results, and then it pulls back related results. You see here for employment, you would get jobs, work, internships, etc. So very often you're going to find something in our results catalog that's going to work for you, or, and in that case you might select one, add your numbers right here very easily, add maybe some context on the right. What does this mean to you? Why do you do this work? Select a program maybe that delivers these results within your organization and the population served. This is how that information is represented on your profile. So individuals who are looking up your organization see that you're focused on results and you're driven by outcomes. This is a fantastic representation here. Again, most organizations are working to get 2 or 3 years of data just to show that they've been doing this for a time. They didn't just start this tracking this, but certainly there's no requirement for you to add multiple years of data for your results. In fact, just submitting one result and publishing one result for your organization will be enough to get you your platinum level seal of transparency. The last 2 pieces I'm gonna, well, let me make one other statement here. I apologize. If you're in your if you're in the results catalog and you don't find something that looks familiar to you or that reflects the work that you do, you can of course add your own. And I apologize, this is not a dynamic presentation. We're really just using screenshots for simplicity today. But as you go into that results catalog, you will have the ability to both search for results as well as add your own, so it precisely reflects the work that you're doing. We offer a tremendous amount of resources for free through our community, videos that will help you move through this process. You can also, of course, use the peer learning network, which is essentially GuideStar.org. Look up other organizations that are at Platinum and see how they're capturing their results in GuideStar. So 2 other things I want to note. We encourage you that you notice here this is not a requirement, but board governance, as I mentioned a moment ago, increasingly relevant for donors and stakeholders. They want to make sure that your organization has a leadership structure that can be trusted and is capable of delivering results. And an area that many of our organizations don't capitalize on that I strongly recommend that you pursue, particularly if you're going to do any kind of Giving Tuesday event, and certainly capitalize on your Facebook, the Facebook linkage with GuideStar, is driving through making sure that you're posting your social media links on your GuideStar profile, including demographic information. I will tell you that diversity, equity, and inclusion is increasingly a lens through which donors and stakeholders are looking to support organizations. So sharing with the community you serve how you represent and reflect that community where applicable. And then, of course, you have the opportunity to add additional documents, certifications. Many folks are uploading their certifications so they represent the quality and caliber of services that they offer. That some of these things, of course, are certifications that are done through third-party validators. So I'm going to pause here. We are 44 minutes into our 1-hour presentation. Our hope is that there are some questions that may be coming in the webinar. I want to remind you that we have a question box on the right-hand side. If you have any questions about what I shared today, I'd encourage you to click on that questions box and submit a question, and I will answer it today. We'll give you a minute or so. As of right now, I don't see any questions. I hope that's because my presentation was so compelling and crystal clear. But I want to make sure that we allow some time for folks who have been on today's call to ask a question if they have any. Okay, so some things that I just want to remind you of. One, a copy of this recording will be provided to you by Michelle via email. Generally, it takes us about 24 to 48 hours to clean this up and make sure it's ready for prime time. You'll see links in this recording that you can use and share with your colleagues if you want to make sure that they know to get the update information on the upcoming Facebook webinar in July. That's a no-brainer. Strongly recommend hopping on that. That can't hurt. Obviously, getting the information to key members of your team to make sure you claim your profile. There's lots of links as far as connecting to our community to make sure you have the way that it's, of course, free to claim and update your profile, and participation in the community and downloading videos to make sure you know how others are using their GuideStar profile is really essential. We have a whole network of folks who are, here to help. I just want to make sure that you feel like you have your questions answered today. Again, you will get a copy of this webinar in an email so you can share it with your peers and colleagues. I'm going to pause for one more second. Take a look and make sure we don't have any other questions. Great. Michelle, I'll turn it back over to you for any concluding remarks. Thank you so much for inviting us to talk to some of your contacts today. It's really exciting to have an opportunity to share what we're doing, and hopefully some folks on today's webinar will recognize the importance of using GuideStar to help get the word out about the great work they're doing. Michelle?
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you for that great webinar. And again, if you have any questions regarding this or anything regarding state charity compliance, please feel free to reach out to me at michelle@charitycompliancesolutions.com. And I look forward to hearing from you, and hope you all have a great day.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. We're going to conclude now. We're going to end the recording and thank everyone for your time and attention today. I want to thank my colleagues Cody and Miranda as well for helping to coordinate today's event. Again, thanks for your time and attention. I would love to be able to make sure you have what you need to capitalize on this free resource that will help you get the word out about the quality of services you're offering in the sector. Thanks again for your time today.